So it's James Glizio here at Anime Expo with Geraint Evans.
Hi, Geraint Evans from PQube.
So PQube has a very interesting game they're showing off at Anime Expo this year. And I'm pretty sure that's the exact words that everyone that's actually gone by their booth and seen it has said. Can you explain what you're showing?
It's Gargan double piece on PS4 and PlayStation Vita, although we just got the PS4 version here for the show, which has kind of been a long time coming. Sequel to the 2009, I think it was, Xbox 360 original. And it's a game that a lot of people have kind of come to us and asked us to release. The same thing from Inti Creates, who are the developers. And it's one of those games where people are just kind of amazed that it's even coming out in the first place. You know, I think a lot of people thought that it's one of those games from Japan that would never see light of day in the West. So we're really happy to be able to bring it over.
Speaking of that, you said that a lot of people didn't expect it to realistically come over. I was one of them. But the more surprising thing I think people are going to realize is the fact that it's not even censored one bit. Can you explain kind of what went into that? I know it's not a very long story.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it's from PQ's point of view, and the same thing from Inti Creates, is that we, like, whatever it is that we bring over to the West, as far as I'm concerned, should really be intact. It should kind of sort of retain its artistic integrity, I guess you could say. And I think, as you know, as we were talking before, it's kind of all or nothing with these sorts of things. And I think it may have been a different story if we'd kind of come up against some resistance from the ratings boards, but actually it was relatively plain sailing throughout the entire process. So from our side, obviously, we're really happy to be able to bring it completely intact.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the main people that want to buy this game are happy for that too. In fact, at the panel last night, you guys even showed off an email conversation you had with the ratings board, and wasn't it just as simple as, hey, here's the game. Oh, hey, what a game. We're good.
Yeah, that's very much the case. But throughout the entire process, there hasn't really been any situations where the ratings boards have kind of raised any concern about the content of the game. And I think, a lot of the time with games like Galgun, the perception of what it's going to be is usually much worse than the reality. So, as we were saying in the panel yesterday, I think a lot of people who say, "Oh, this is this super lewd game," are people who obviously haven't played it. I think when you actually engage with Galgun and you kind of go through your first playthrough, you kind of understand that actually the more enduring aspects of the game are kind of around love and romance and kind of super cute kind of moe style, as opposed to the lewder aspects. Those lewd aspects are in there, but they're way more tongue-in-cheek, and they're sort of way more kind of innuendo rather than being super explicit. So it's a lot of fun, and it's way more fun than people would give it credit for being.
Speaking of that, we should probably tell the people listening exactly what type of game Galgun is. So
it's a rail shooter at heart. I think it's probably best described as being like House of the Dead, but with all the zombies replaced with hyper moe style girls. So it's really cute. It's kind of really tongue in cheek. It kind of has a lot more kind of in-depth elements than you would expect. So, for example, as you kind of go into Doki Doki mode, which is where you can kind of bring the girls into this sort of mini game where you can kind of bring them to a state of euphoria, and they kind of explode as a smart bomb. What a lot of people don't realise is that the girls that you select to bring into Doki Doki mode will affect your stats throughout the game, and the stats that you alter throughout the game will determine what kind of responses you can have in the dialogue sections, and also what kind of girls that you can aim to be your best girl come the end of the game.
Yeah. Like you were saying earlier, the game's very tongue-in-cheek. I actually noticed something playing the demo yesterday that I think a few people wouldn't have noticed, but in fact, if you aim at certain girls that aren't actually part of the high school girls going after you, and you euphoria them, you actually get an otona bonus, which is just an adult bonus.
yeah. There's a lot of really nice little touches like that, and it's way more than kind of a simple lewd arcade game. It kind of runs much deeper. So I hope people are going to enjoy discovering those elements as they pick it up.
So you're bringing both versions of the game over physically for both the UK and North America.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And you guys also have a very special limited edition, don't you?
We do. It's the Mr. Happiness edition, which is kind of rammed with content. I think the thing that people are most interested in is the screen cleaner.
Yes, I see you making those quotation marks whenever you talk about it with Matt. I'm not sure how much it's a screen cleaner, not a pair of panties, but I'm going to trust your judgment on this.
It's definitely a screen cleaner.
Well, anyways, I don't know if there's that much more to say about Galgun. Is there anything else you want to say?
Please look forward to it. Don't make assumptions about what kind of game it is. Like, enter into it into the spirit in which it's intended, and I think you're gonna have a huge amount of fun with it.